Happy Friday, guys. I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and the Galaxy S2 is finally available in the United States. We've been waiting for this for months and months, and now you can get one and not have to worry about paying $600 or $700 by buying it unlocked. Samsung Epic 4G Touch, or in the full name, Samsung Galaxy S2, Epic 4G Touch, is available now from Sprint for $199.99 with a new agreement. So it's a hot device, and they've added some improvements over the original. A bigger display, 4.52 inches now instead of 4.3, but it still has that nice dual-core 1.2 gigahertz Exynos processor, 8-megapixel camera, and Android 2.3 with Samsung's TouchWiz user interface version 4.0. Bigger battery as well, 1,800 milliamp hours. Now, is this a device for you? It goes up against the Photon and the Evo 3D. Three awesome devices on Sprint, all 4G capable. Is this the one? Should you get another one? We'll find out in the full review, but first, special thanks to my buddies at Best Buy because they hook us up with phones just like this for use in our One Paw Bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you won't have to worry about rebates. You'll get this sucker for $199.99. That's it, flat, no paperwork, no waiting for the debit cards, anything like that. At Best Buy Mobile, there's no mail-in rebates. But enough of that, let's get into it. So one other cool thing I want to point out about the browser, and I don't know if I actually have it turned on, is the motion. Yep, sure do. There it is. You can see I can bring both thumbs down to the device, and I can actually zoom in by moving the device instead of doing pinch to zoom. But still, just look how quick that is. I'm going to try to get that out of the lamp's glare so you don't deal with that. But look how quick that is. I can bring it right all the way into the picture and zoom in and out. So you can see how quickly that's moving. No checkerboarding, no lagging whatsoever. That's pretty impressive, and it really shows how far Samsung's come from those Hummingbird processors that constantly scored behind in quadrant standard. And yes, I realize it was partially a file system issue with TouchWiz 3.0, all the way up to this dual-core awesome Exynos processor. They've really done a great job and improving in the processor department. So great improvement there. You can see that's a cool little feature, and it's very similar to the feature I showed you in part 1, where you can take an app or take a widget, something like that, and you can move it very quickly from one screen to the other. Now I haven't quite gotten this art down. There we go. Okay, move it back to where I left it. I'm not as good at it as I would like to be. So in part 2, I'm going to take some of your questions because I reached out earlier on Twitter and said, what would you like to see on the Epic Touch, or Epic 4G Touch, EpTouch? And I got some awesome and somewhat interesting things as well. So the first one says compare the screen to the iPhone 4 screen. I actually have an iPhone sitting over here right beside me, so I'm going to do that pretty quickly, and you can see here's what they look like. Now obviously the iPhone has a Retina display, 3.5 inch Retina display to be exact. This is 4.52, and you can really tell the size difference between those screens. I mean, look at the size difference between the two devices. So you can see, just give you an idea. Let me zoom in actually a little bit, or not zoom in, let me bring the devices closer. I don't know why I always say zoom when I mean bring those closer, just to show you what they look like. So Retina is still definitely the champion in the high resolution department. Super AMOLED Plus comes pretty close though. In day-to-day performance, I still prefer Retina. But I mean, Super AMOLED, this thing is hot, it looks good, and for such a large display to have such beautiful color, Samsung's really done a good job. But Super AMOLED Plus definitely is definitely impressive. So that was one question. Camera action, stills, and videos. I'm actually going to get into that in just a second. But Samir wants to see a picture of Emma Watson. Well, I will try to bring that up if I take a break during the video, because I want to make sure I censor, because you never know what happens when you type in stuff in Google. It could bring up some other things that you don't want to see on camera. Any new, okay, that's not an Epic Touch question, but let's go ahead and jump into the camera. And not only is this an 8-megapixel camera, but it shoots video at 1080p. So you get 720p and 1080p as options on this device. So we're going to go to camera here and take a look. And we'll bring in, what do you say, let's bring in something not white since the background is white. Let's do the iPhone 4, that works. And so we're going to get an idea of what it looks like zoomed in. And there is no physical camera button. You know how much I love the physical camera buttons, but there is not one on this device. We're going to get this to zoom in. And because there's some glare coming off of it, it's kind of autofocus is a little confused, but there we go. Zoomed right in on the iPhone logo, or the iPhone text on the back of the device, and you can just see, let me get my grubby fingerprints off that so we can get a better look at what it looks like. So we can bring that back. Very, very clear, and even when zoomed in, look how clear that text is. Pretty impressive. And it's actually one of the more impressive 8-megapixel. You know, at least on the Android front, this would be my first choice for a camera. Now the 1080p, go to the website if you'd like to see the 1080p sample footage I shot earlier in the week. It's okay. The audio is a little bit choppy, and the video is decent. I've definitely seen better. But the still images, absolutely fantastic. I mean, look, that's zoomed in. Look how good that picture is. That's pretty impressive for a phone camera. 8-megapixel camera there, and the flash has been moved around to the bottom versus being on the side on the international version. But that's a good look, and I'm going to see if I have another picture that I can show you. There's the Bionic, and then there's a picture out of the office window, so you can see very clear, and even when zoomed in, you can see it's a good image as well. So great still pictures, and let me see what else he wanted to see. Camera action, stills, and video. Yep, okay, so that's that, and then let me show you the editing options as well. I'm scrolling through and reading Twitter over here, so trying to do a bunch of things at once, and that's really not my specialty. So here's your editing options that you can see. And my iPhone vibrated, but you can see over here, shooting mode, scene mode, you can change flash, of course, do self-portraits in the front-facing camera, you can see the resolution, timer, effects, flash, a lot of different things, and then you can easily flip it around. You can easily flip it around. Sorry, I was having a little bit of fun. Easily flip it around like that and take pictures of yourself or use a front-facing camera for video calls, things like that. Again, an easy toggle over here as well to the video camera. And not really sure what, took a picture of my finger. And then easy access to the pictures themselves. And then down here you can edit the shortcuts. So a pretty good editing menu, if you will, and this is Samsung customized software. It looks kind of familiar to what we see on the Galaxy Tab. So it's pretty similar on that front. So let's see here what else people want to see. Battery life. How has battery life been? Well, it's been pretty interesting because they increased the battery size in this one to 1,800 milliamp hours. So it is a bigger battery. That said, it's a bigger display, and Super AMOLED Plus is a high-resolution display. So it's funny, with moderate use, I've made it through the day. From 100%, pulling it off the charger around 8:30, I've made it all the way into the evening with some light calling, text messaging, downloading apps, things like that. I made it to about, let's say 9 or 10 o'clock before it required a recharge. Now, somebody that uses it pretty heavily, you're going to need a spare battery or a car charger, but one thing about Samsung devices, they do take forever to charge. So it's something to keep in mind. If you're like me and you live off of those 15 or 20-minute charges in between meetings, or you're driving somewhere and you plug it in on the car charger, it's not going to be the device for you. I shouldn't say it like that. It could still be the device for you, but carry a spare battery because you're not going to get an adequate charge. I mean, I did it just as a test from where I live to the office in Uptown. It's about, with no traffic, it's about 15 minutes. I gained a couple of percentage points on the battery meter. So it's not going to be enough in comparison to what it's actually draining, but still, with moderate use, I've been fine throughout the day, so it's pretty impressive. Now, reception-wise, it's been pretty decent. I've had some issues with Sprint's 3G, and we're going to go ahead and do the quadrant standard tests while I'm thinking about that, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So I'm going to run the quadrant standard benchmark, and I'm going to talk about it while we're doing that. Call quality's been very good. Earpiece is nice and loud. The speakerphone's loud. Now, the issue I have had is Sprint's data speeds. They've been progressively more and more frustrating over the summer, not just with this device, with the Evo 3D, with the Photon 4G. I've been getting data speeds between all the way as low as 0.001 megabits per second, all the way up to about 0.50 megabits per second, so about 500 kilobits per second. And, needless to say, that's pretty slow even for 3G. And then when I kick it on to 4G, if I can get a 4G signal, I get between about 1.5 and all the way up to about 5 megabits per second on this device. So it's very erratic, and obviously Sprint uses WiMAX, which, not to get too incredibly nerdy if you're watching this video and you're like, I'm not really familiar with frequencies, but WiMAX is a super high frequency. It is hard to use in buildings and in population dense areas. So go in here and take a look at quadrant standard because I want to show you this. I'll stop talking for a second. 3,316 on quadrant standard. 3,316. Compare that to really anything else. I mean, look like the Droid Bionic. It was in the 2000s. It's an awesome device. It performs really, really well, and there's no lag whatsoever. So 3,316 on that. But I want to show you speed test because that's really where it's been pretty frustrating. And not only has 3G been frustrating, I feel like 4G has been pretty spotty. I'm literally sitting in Center City right now, and yesterday I was having trouble picking up a 4G signal. So again, like I said in part one, Sprint has reached out. We're going to see what we can do and see if I can help them in any way, try and diagnose it. So I'll let you know and keep you updated on the site there. But you can see the data speeds here. This is what I'm averaging right now. I did some of these actually early in the morning. You can see the times and the dates early this morning, and you can see what I'm averaging. On the upload, I mean, pretty abysmal speeds there, pretty high ping rates, and then download anywhere from, 0.019 megabits per second all the way up to about 0.048 megabits per second. So needless to say, it's been pretty slow. So again, we're Center City right now, and I'm going to begin the test. So we are in an area where you would think 3G would be pretty strong, and you can see the 3G indicator fluctuating in the area. So let's see what we can do right now. But it's been pretty unfortunate because, Sprint's 3G was fantastic, and that's been struggling a little bit lately. So hopefully they can get that fixed. But just showing you right now, and actually I have a feeling this one's going to pop up and say network communication issues. But we will see. And while it's doing that, I'm going to read through some of the Twitter questions. This is something that's cool too. This is a Samsung device, and these are kind of hard to come by sometimes. It's a Samsung device that has a notification light. And you can't really see it right now because I don't have any notifications, but it's right there, and it does blink red. So all those people that love Android devices but were like, I can't do Samsung because it doesn't have a notification light, it is right there, my friends. You now have a notification light if you decide to get this device. So we're going to see what it comes up as. So you can see 0.006 megabits per second and 0.003. So in fairness, you know, it is 3:30, rush hour is beginning. Could be a high strain, if you will, on the cell site, but still, or the various cell sites around uptown. But still, that's pretty abysmal in terms of network coverage. So we're going to kick on 4G and see if we can get a signal right here. And I'm hoping I can, because there's a window right here. So we'll see if I can pick up a 4G signal. Just do a 4G speed test and keep it fair as well. Let's see what we can do here. Your hair blowing in the wind whilst you giving us your sexy eyes. So that was a request on Twitter. I'm going to see if I can, I don't think I can lean in the way the camera is angled, but I think that's still, that picture I did earlier with the front-facing camera, that was good enough. So if you want to see that sexy face and sexy hair, take a look at that. 4G is still loading, still trying to find a 4G signal. Somebody else said you're gorgeous hair. What can I say? What can I say? It is awesome. Signal strength compared to the Photon. So this is good. You know, the signal strength, Photon has a fantastic wireless radio. Motorola's always done great in that department. If you're in a fringe Sprint area, it's certainly good. Now with this one, it's definitely good. It's in somewhere in between the Evo 3D, which has a pretty poor wireless radio, at least in my experience, with my various demo units, and the Photon, which is just excellent. This is somewhere just slightly behind the Photon. It's not something, you know, with the Evo 3D, I'd say if you live in a fringe area, it may not be the device for you. This one, I wouldn't say that. It's a little bit less than the Photon, but still, I think you'll be perfectly fine with it. And it looks like I'm not pulling a 4G signal. I'm not seeing anything, but we'll do one more test. It's decided to stay up there, but I don't see any indication. So we'll see what we come up with. Yeah, it's still definitely running on 3G. So frustrating speeds, to say the least. But let's do something else. Let's take a look here at the market, because this is something that's pretty interesting. They revised the market on Android 2.3, and you can see again quick and easy transitions. But it looks much better, and it's really right there in line. You know, it's at the point now where the App Store on iOS really needs to be updated, because they've gone through several updates on the Android side. And it really looks classy. It looks clean. You can see over here we're in the apps section, but I'm going to scroll back to the main screen because they combined books and movies and apps all into one convenient place. So you can get all your needs from the Android market and not have to go to individual places to download things. So you can see it's loading up and taking its sweet time. And I may kick it on Wi-Fi if it continues, so we'll figure that out. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It does not want to. Give me 1 second. Kick it on Wi-Fi. And let's see what I can do here. Let me find my Wi-Fi signal. I feel like I should have some creative hold music while we're doing this. Come on, market. Come on, market. Okay, let's try this again. Let's bring it right up. Come on. Thinking. Android market's taking a sweet time. Maybe an Android market issue. It's very possible that it could be down right now because I just killed it via Task Manager, so we'll see. There we go. Third time is the charm. So you can see apps, games, books, and movies all in this one kind of easy to find place, but you can see that it's been revised. They're doing this kind of Metro UI look with it, with the rectangular tiles and kind of square tiles or smaller rectangles, if you will. But again, quick and easy. And you can see top free. They're organized by top paid, top free, top grossing, new paid, new free, trending, a bunch of different ways. So we can go back over here to just top free, for example, and we'll go to Facebook for Android so you can see what it looks like. So a little bit different up here. You can share, you can do your search, then you can go back there. But I have Facebook already installed, but you can see some screenshots right here on the main market screen. You can see rate and review, what's new, the description. You can allow automatic updating and reviews. So again, nothing really different. It's just a better look and really kind of cleans it up and allows you a one-stop place to find your apps, your books, your games, and your movies. You'll notice when I go into books, for example, the color changes. So you can see a little Android shopping cart, if you will, or shopping bag changes depending on what screen I'm in. So movies are red. You can see. So neat little things like that. I think it looks good. They really made huge improvements on that front. So all in all, a great device. You know, Samsung really knocked it out of the park with the Galaxy S2. If you remember the review, I liked it then. I like this now. They've taken a great formula and they've added a bigger display. They've added a bigger battery that gets it through the day with moderate use, but kept all the processor and kept all the high-end stuff, so it's still blazing fast with an absolutely beautiful Super AMOLED Plus display. So great device. Really pleased to see it on Sprint. It's available now. So as soon as you finish watching this video, something you want, you can go pick it up. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with this device. We're going to do dogfights, just to show you what the screen looks like there as I'm signing off. We're going to do dogfights between this and the Bionic and a bunch of other high-end devices, because really, Android, they keep coming. So be on the lookout for some awesome dogfights between this and some of the other devices on the market. Be sure to like us on Facebook as well, facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're giving away a bunch of tablets as part of our greatest tech giveaway ever. You could win. All you have to do is like our page at facebook.com/PhoneDog, and be sure to click on that sweepstakes button so you authorize our application and you get your tickets. Be sure to get in on that. Pretty cool. And be sure to follow me on Twitter as well. Ask me any questions you have about this device at PhoneDog_Aaron and on Facebook at my Facebook page, facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Keep it locked on the site. Have a great weekend. Go out and get this sucker if this is something you like. But all in all, a nice addition to Sprint's lineup. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.